Mike's Daily Podcast.
I am Mike Matthews, and you are listening to my show, Science and My Hair. I have a huge tuft of hair on my head, and I wanted to tell you about my life as a scientist. It is episode 1582. The last show is called Caveat, and I'd like to tell you about this little kingdom called Caveat that lives
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Just outside a cafe anyway. Where we are today in Podcastro Valleymont. I'm Mike.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Today we hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. I enjoyed a delicious coffee with Sylvia. We were in Castro Valley. I was at Cafe 4. It's not like Cafe Anyway. Cafe Anyway is a little bit different because Cafe Anyway is this place that I am at right now.
Anyway.
And people are much louder here.
Anyway.
And the music is greater, and therefore it is better. So you are listening on whatever day this is. I am listening on Friday.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Because I am doing it right now on Friday.
You've got to be kidding me.
And
Which is a very good thing.
it's a very good...
very, very good thing.
Mike's
In fact, it's huge.
Daily
Huge.
Podcast.
I hope you like my podcast.
Yeah.
If not, I'm sure Patton Oswalt has a good podcast. Patton Oswalt has been everywhere lately. Do you know Patton Oswalt? He was in the movie Ratatouille. I think he was the Ratatouille. But sad things happened to him because, you know, his wife died unexpectedly at a very young age. And he was left with their daughter to raise, Luke Walken. And he has been in a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. He's a funny comedian. He was on, the Avengers show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. He got remarried really fast, though. And I don't know about that. I don't know, if someone dies, there needs to be a grieving period. Look who else walked in. That I think needs to take a while. He got remarried fast. And with a celebrity, being a celebrity, everybody knows who you are. It's easier to attract a mate. That's all I'm saying. Hey, several people walked in and I just ignored him.
Hello, Mr. Master. It is the Brewmaster.
Now, that's just a voice I made up. I didn't really do that.
No, it's really me.
Oh, was? I didn't know if I was making it up or if you were actually here.
Yeah, I'm pouring the boy.
And look who else is here.
Hello, Mr. Master. Madame Rootabega. What are you doing? Stop it.
Oh,
And here's today's podcast picture.
she smacked me on the head. Today, I talk about Bill Gates meeting with Trump. No, that was the last show. This show is about Basil the Boxer. There's a podcast picture of him from yesterday. I had to do a rather... well, you know what? It was a nice long walk. It was not abbreviated in any way. Even though I had coffee with Sylvia, we had a nice chat about all kinds of things, Portugal, and about our relatives that have passed on, visiting us in dreams. She was telling me about an incident she experienced recently. I have been visited by very close relatives and friends who've passed away in my dreams. Now, did I imagine it? Or is it the real thing? When I wake up, it feels like the real thing. So does it matter? It's just amazing. The human brain, we will never fully understand, as I go into Carl Sagan mode, fully comprehend the human brain. But at the same time, there are things we'll never know, right? Hey, I maxed out my that Basil the Boxer picture from yesterday as we were on our favorite trail in Coal Canyon, which, by the way, this walk we went on, our little Mike excursion we did yesterday, was so awesome because we saw Albert. I hadn't seen Albert in a while. Albert is my 77-year-old friend, and he has a little Lola Chihuahua that I've featured pictures of in the podcast picture, which you can see at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. And while you're there, help out the show through the PayPal thing. If you want. If not, it's no big. Hey, the podcast pictures at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, and all the past shows are there. It's a wonderful website that I pay for it out of my pocket and I don't get anything for it. I don't get any subsidies or what have you. It's there. I do it as a gift to myself. It's the only thing I give myself, really. Do I give myself anything else? I give myself grief. I worry over stupid stuff. And we do that, don't we? We need to stop it. Stop it!
Busted eardrums.
And stop the worry. But yes, so Basil had a great walk. We saw Albert. Albert pours me this little... he's from Portugal. And Sylvia was just telling me about how she went to Portugal. So I had a very Portuguese day yesterday. And this girl that I sometimes walk dogs with, her mom is from Portugal. So there's all kinds of Portuguesa going on in the Bay Area. So what happened... oh, and then, yeah, Sylvia's husband is Portuguese. Has Portuguese in his blood. So we have all the... let's talk about Portugal, shall we? Well, I guess I might be coming out of left field. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. That's 1966 now. That's Portugal the man. But what have you? Patton Oswalt, I think he's small. He's smart. He usually comes up with very interesting observations before anybody else does. Oh, but what's fascinating was he is promoting his wife, his first wife, who passed away, her book. She was writing a book about a serial killer, and she did all this investigating about, and it was very hard work because not only just the sheer amount of data she had to go through, but just the subject matter was very hard on her. So it was very interesting. Patton Oswalt was talking about this on, I guess, public radio. And that's what he's been doing. So I just bring him up for that. But, hey, I don't understand people who never, ever text you back. Are they saying something to you? Are they saying, are they saying that? I don't know. And my comment the other day about seeing the video of the students talking about gun control and the walkout and just how eloquent they are. I wanted to say this too. I didn't mention this on the podcast. That's our future. I don't care what people my age or older or people on TV or white men say, or whiny white men. Hey, look, it's the whiny white man thing.
Wine.
Well, I like it.
The whiny white man wine list.
I don't care what kind of whiny white man white list is going. It doesn't matter. It's all about them. It's all about them. They are going to take over. I think this whole issue and them in the spotlight is really showing the world these brilliant young people who are going to replace us. They shall inherit the earth. And we are merely we're just hanging around for a little while longer. I'm just telling you, that's the future. And when I see that, yeah, sure, you can get depressed. I'm old, blah, blah, blah. But also, it's just so invigorating, enhancing. It makes me happier to see that is the future. That is the road we're on. And when you see a teenager that's doing stupid stuff just on their game or on some stupid game. What's that Sony game I'd heard about that kids are dropping all this money on? This guy in Asia, this young kid, spent $70,000 on this game. What? Fate and something. What? Oh, by the way, on that, the app thing that I found on my Vizio, because I can't watch TV through my laptop anymore, and I refuse to buy cable to get the cable feed because I hate commercials. It is... I didn't realize I have an app that lets me watch Wall Street Journal videos. The Wall Street Journal and all the big papers now. New York Times. I enjoyed the New York Times podcast this morning on my way to work where they were talking about Ida B. Oh, this is off the top of my head. Shoot. Oh, what was her last name? I can't think of it at the moment. She wrote about lynchings like 100 years ago. Lynchings were still going on 100 years ago. Can you believe that? Oh, actually, I have it right here. And that just drove me nuts. hearing, but just what she did in her Ida B. Wells. There we go. And she wrote very detailed accounts of lynchings where black men or women were being killed. Just cold-blooded murder. They heard a rumor. Some of these people completely innocent being murdered in front of huge crowds of white people. It just sickens me. But Ida B. Wells was never given an obituary in the New York Times. So the New York Times is trying to do, kind of fulfill where they weren't. Oh, she was talking about, creating the obituaries. And that podcast also talks about who they picked to be in the New York Times obituaries. But just the story about Ida B. Wells, amazing. She died at 68, the age of 68. She had run for office. She passed away in 1931. She didn't win any, but she helped start the NAACP. Was that it? And she's just known for her amazing... A close friend of hers got lynched. So that really set her on her path of discussing and trying to bring to an end lynchings. Oh, and she was also all about people... The people that were lynched were often forgotten, and she was very much... No, these people need to be remembered. Their families that they left behind need to be remembered. So the fact that she wasn't remembered after her death is very ironic. So New York Times had a really good podcast about that today. So there's just all this great content out there. You don't have to watch TV. You don't have to watch Netflix. But I've talked to people that like it. They love Netflix. Netflix stock continues to go up. So who am I to say? But I maxed out my Starbucks. I got a free Starbucks because I'm with the rewards. I get a free Starbucks every now and then. And as I've mentioned before, when I used to get a free Starbucks, I would just be really sheepish and get just the low, the quickest thing. I'll get like the small coffee to go. Thanks. No, my friend. Don't be a sheep when it comes to getting your freebie. Get the biggest friggin' thing. Milk it for all it's worth. So the coffee that I ended up getting yesterday, or it was Wednesday, for free from Starbucks, the final price, retail price, would have been over $10. What was it? Oh, did I save it anywhere? I didn't save exactly what I got. But it basically was a Java chip Frappuccino. And now I'm going to lose my entire audience by saying what I put in there. Well, just a bunch of sweet stuff. And chocolate and more chocolate. And they even put a banana in there. There used to be a place called It's a Grind. I don't think they're open anymore. But they used to have a thing called a Funky Monkey. No, that's the ice cream. It was something had the word banana in it somehow. And it was a really good blended latte frappuccino thing they used to make, but they're out of business, maybe because they made that drink. But they used to have a really cool store in Oakland that would have jazz. They would have a little jazz band set up. I was there on just a completely random Tuesday afternoon, and there was a little jazz band playing in Oakland, in downtown Oakland. It was awesome. But they're gone. That was back in about 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe even longer. But that's neither here nor there or anywhere up there or whatever. The divorce papers have been filed now between Trump Jr.'s wife, Vanessa Trump, and Donald Trump Jr. Oh, she's a lovely blonde, and he is a brunette that looks a little... I think he's the one that sounds a little bit more than he looks to Donald Trump. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. The report shows that North Korea testing nuclear reactor. South Korea officials are beginning preparations for a summit next month with North Korea, as the report shows that the North had probably begun testing a nuclear reactor as recently as late February. And there's apparently a Bitcoin correction going on, for those of you who know anything about Bitcoin. Winn-Dixie is closing 94 stores. And And that's about it. I think that's all I wanted to cover, but let me tell you, that coffee I had yesterday with Sylvia pretty much kept me up pretty late last night. But Cafe 4 in Castro Valley has some nice, big, comfy chairs. And that's what I used to love about coffee places before everything changed. And everything became go, go, go. And you don't sit around and drink your coffee when you buy it. You order it, you put it in your cup holder, and you go. I got places to go, things to do. Hey, we might have a Super Secret Sunday show this weekend. I'm excited to say. We haven't done one in a while, but I'm actually going to probably have time to do it despite my weekend job and all that. Hey, St. Patrick's Day! Woo! St. Patrick's Day. Hey, if you want to get together for St. Patrick's Day, go on a special St. Patrick's Day Mike excursion. Why, let me know. You can call it 336MM Daily. You can also text there. And if you do, texting charges apply. Now I went pirate on you. But, or you can email me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. But, yes, happy St. Patrick's Day. I don't know the rights to that song, so I better stop that song right now in its tracks. Well, it's been a wonderful show. I hope you had a tuft of fun. And if you didn't, the name of this show is This American Life. And I'm Ira Glass. But next show, we will have... Did we say hi to everybody real quick? Did we even say hi to Valentino and Bison? Valentino's been on a bunch this week. Sorry, Valentino. You're not going to be on today. But I had a lot to say, Dave. Nope. And, your friend's here, too. This is Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Wonderful. That was good.
I spell my name. Danger.
Thank you, Bison Bentley. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the show. And we will hopefully bring you a new one very, very soon. It's Mike's Daily Podcast. I am your host, Mike Matthews.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!